Let's start with the personal attack fallacy, also called ad hominem. Personal attack fallacy is when a conclusion is drawn by attacking a person's views or their personal attributes instead of on evidence related to this matter involved. For instance, let's say the candidate is qualified, but he has tattoos, so he won't be right for the job. There are two premises here: that the candidate is qualified and that the candidate has tattoos. The conclusion that's being drawn is that he won't be right for the job. So it mentioned that he is qualified, and I just realized I spelled qualified a little bit incorrectly. I'll fix that real quick. And that relates to the job. But then the second premise says that he has tattoos, and that's what's actually backing up that he won't be right for the job. So we're using a premise that the candidate has tattoos, a personal attribute, to actually make a conclusion that he won't be right for the job. The tattoos don't have anything to do with the job. So you're using the person's personal attributes to draw a conclusion that he won't be right for the job. That's a personal attack fallacy. Another example, my lab partner's notes are always in disarray, so her answer to the question on the homework must be wrong. So here, the conclusion is that her answer must be wrong, and we're basing that on the fact that her notes are in disarray. Now, her notes being in disarray doesn't have to do with her knowledge of the material. Again, it's a negative here. Disarray implies a negative view of the person's attributes. So we're attacking the person to draw a conclusion that she must be wrong. So that's a personal attack fallacy. Our second example is an appeal to ignorance fallacy. Here, we use a lack of knowledge or evidence or proof to draw a conclusion about something. So remember, the word ignorance, sometimes we think about it as a negative, but technically the word ignorance means lack of knowledge or lack of proof. So we're going to use a lack of knowledge or a lack of proof to draw a conclusion about something. And that really doesn't make sense, having no proof to make a conclusion. Let's look at an example. Bigfoot does not exist because there is no proof that he exists. So because is a way of then giving a reasoning. So the premise here is that there is no proof Bigfoot exists. And then the conclusion, based on having no proof, is that Bigfoot does not exist. It doesn't really make sense to actually say that something exists or doesn't exist if you have no proof. And that's what an appeal to ignorance fallacy is all about. It's about having no proof and trying to use the lack of proof to draw a conclusion. Here's the second example. I haven't seen a speed sign on the freeway so far. Therefore, there must be no speed limit on it. Okay, so we're drawing the conclusion that there's no speed limit from having not seen a sign. So we have no proof, because we haven't seen a sign, to try to back up that there must be no speed limit. I doubt that would fly with a police officer who's stopped you and is going to write you a ticket that, oh, I didn't see a speed sign, therefore I'm okay to go 100 miles per hour on the freeway. They wouldn't really take that as a good premise to back up that there's no speed limit. So an appeal to ignorance fallacy is when you have no proof and you try to draw a conclusion with no proof. All right, an appeal to authority fallacy. Appeal to authority is using the fact that an authority figure says or acts a certain way in order to prove that a conclusion is correct. This happens a lot in advertising, as well as in politics. Here's an example. My dentist recommends Crest toothpaste, so it must be the best. So the premise here is that an authority figure, my dentist, and he is an authority on teeth, right? This authority figure is recommending Crest toothpaste. And we use that as proof that the authority figure recommended it, that Crest is the best toothpaste. So our conclusion is Crest is the best toothpaste. Here's the second example. The Atkins diet works because Rob Lowe says it worked for him. So here we have a premise involving an authority figure. Rob Lowe says that the Atkins diet worked for him, so therefore a conclusion is that it works. So the idea here is we're believing something to be correct, a conclusion to be correct, because Rob Lowe said it works. Okay, a figure of authority.